Hey guys, welcome back to Real Housewives Recaps. Today, I'm so glad you're here. We're talking Sky News in Australia. We have Paul Murray and Angela Levin on, and they're talking about, well, they go through the Catherine of it all. They really talk about Meghan. Angela has some excellent points, and I thought, once again, let's take a look. Let's hear from our Australian friends, our Australian geese, Honk Honk, and really go through this. So I'm excited. We'll watch it together. I'm going to be pausing and reacting to it. If you want to see the uninterrupted clip, you can find it through Sky News or here on YouTube. But let's take a look and see what's being said. Here we go.
It's lovely to see you, Angela.
Thank you. Lovely to be here, as you know. Love it.
So, Catherine's not going to be going with William to Singapore, I think it is, for more efforts to do with their Earthshot project. She says she's doing it to stay home with the kids. Of course, when both don't turn up, the word snub starts being thrown around. What do you think?
So this came up in a recent video. I talked about it, but I do want to reiterate, this is something I'm very much seeing online from fans of Harry and Meghan's. I'm laughing because it's just ridiculous at this point, but Catherine, Princess of Wales, has her priorities, her children.
Well, I think it's awful to say that it's a snub. It isn't. And it's actually one kid. It's Prince George, because he's 10 now, and they want him to go to Eton, obviously one of these very, very smart schools. And he has to do an exam next week, exactly the week that his daddy's going to be away.
So they're the future king and queen, but they're still putting their family first. They're still prioritizing their children. We've heard stories where William has stayed back while Catherine's gone out and vice versa. They put their kids first. Just not something we're used to seeing from the other camp.
And I think that he would very much need his mother. And that's why she's there. She's there so he wouldn't get stressed. And I thought that's a very good thing to do. It's got nothing to do with her feelings about William, because she's there and they're very solid as a couple. And I think it's awful when people sort of use words like snubbing, which seems to be, I'm not going you for a first certain reason. We had a row, I'm not coming. It's got nothing to do with that. It's because it's not easy to be a mother and work anyway, but it's certainly not easy to be a mother and try to make your home life as normal as possible and be a princess.
So here's what struck me about this. And again, I love Angela Levin. I think she says things so clearly, and I love her point here. So Catherine is, again, future queen. She's a princess. She's prioritizing her children. She's trying to make as normal a life as possible for those kids. Amazing. Okay, what do you see from Meghan? She's prioritizing trying to play princess. Obviously, she's not a princess, but you know what I mean? Like, play royal. Still throwing those titles around. I'll never not make fun of that. We see her do these, events and stuff for a very long time. We find out she went on vacation allegedly after the Invictus. So clearly having a normal home life is not a priority. It's just funny to see the opposites that are those two.
It's really not easy. And I think she's right. In any case, it's up to her and what she thinks her priorities are. And it's quite nice to see that actually she feels that her children are. And one of the things that the late Queen Elizabeth, who was wonderful for so much.
She was and is wonderful.
But she did admit that she ignored the children. She didn't do very much with the children. And the one who suffered most was Charles. He was a sensitive child, and his mother went away for 6 months because then traveling took much longer, and she came back and she just tapped him on the head, and it wasn't enough, and he was very sad about that, of course. So I think Catherine has learnt through marrying William, plus her own very stable, close family, that actually you have to do the right thing when children are young. And she's spending a lot of time looking after young children, trying to see that the beginning is so important.
I love Angela, and I know what she's saying is important, but all I can pay attention to is little Prince Louis and that s'more that's bigger than his head.
That she's doing lots of things to help families who have got difficulties. They haven't got much money, they're not very intelligent, they're single parents. And it would be actually, I think, completely wrong if she went off and left him alone. And, when she's doing this to help children find their own lives through a very stable family.
So again, I know some of you don't love it when I compare Catherine and Meghan, but I'm gonna, because look at this, practicing what she preaches, whatever the opposite of hypocrisy is, that's what you have with Catherine. And we just continue to see the opposite repeatedly from the other camp.
Yeah, look, I think it's good that she's there to help her son through the entry exams to Eton, but I think we can both agree, g'day, my kid's George, and he's going to be the future King of England. He's probably going to get into Eton. I'm just putting it out there. I reckon there's a chance that George might make it into Eton.
Yeah, I think he'll get in anyway. They're not going to turn away the heir to the throne. But if he's very nervous about it all and thinks he hasn't done well, that's an entirely different situation, isn't it? You don't want to make him scared of exams and not feel well because good that he didn't get decent marks.
Okay, I know they're talking about George, but I have to go back to Catherine because I love her. But it just shows to me a confidence. She has a confidence in her marriage. Obviously, things are fine. He can go do Earthshot. It's no problem. She has a confidence in herself. She knows that staying back, prioritizing her children is not her missing a chance at the spotlight. It's more of she didn't want to miss the chance with her children.
And I think it's more that level. He could get anywhere. They'd always take somebody like that. But he needs to go feeling positive about himself. The late Princess Diana made a big mistake by insisting that Prince Harry went to Eton because he didn't pass exams the first time he tried.
Ooh, I mean, we all knew it, but I love hearing Angela say that. You know that's got to make old Harold super mad, which makes it funnier to me. Do you think Meghan brings that up in arguments with him?
So he had a whole year when he tried to do other ones, and he just scraped through. So he was in the bottom of the class. And that, I think, affected him very, very much. You know, he's the second heir. In other words, he's the spare, which we know he's written about. And it's very hard for him to always be at the bottom.
Yeah, and that sucks. But it goes into what I was literally just saying in another video. I don't feel sorry for that guy. And that's the crazy thing. He had everything. He even had a reason for people to feel sorry for him, and he blew it. So no, screw that guy.
I think it was a big mistake that children shouldn't go to schools which they don't feel comfortable in and don't reach the demands. And we can see from the exams what little George can do.
Now, also, let's compare again. So, Catherine, she's not going because, as you say, George preparing for this big stage of his life. But her old mate, Meghan, of course, she had to be late to the Invictus Games because she was making milkshake.
Oh, that will never not be funny to me. She was making milkshakes. Okay, she wasn't making milkshakes. She was out buying milkshakes at a photo shoot, which was allegedly I think an hour some odd away from her house. And no, I don't think she was late because she was making milkshakes.
For her kids, not quite the same thing, but you noticed a little detail. That if the great urgency meant that she turned up late because she's making milkshakes, the first place she'd go straight after these public engagements would be straight back home, right? Because apparently the kids need mummy to make milkshakes. But where did Meghan go? Straight after the Invictus Games.
Yeah. It was ridiculous and it's incredibly annoying, and I find it very patronising that people won't see through it.
Oh, no, we see through it. We are all laughing at it. It's comical. You know what? It's pathetic at this point, but it's still fun to laugh at.
To come 3 days later, long does it take to make a milkshake? 3 days later, she's there and explaining she had to give her little ones milkshakes. That was obviously nonsense. But then at the end, to sort of skive off and go to Portugal for a secret lovey-dovey holiday.
There is no way. There's no way. They did not go on a lovey-dovey holiday. They had separate rooms. Come on. But I'm sure it was I had to do so much work. I just need a break.
Is extraordinary. I mean, most parents who are away from their children for nearly 2 weeks would very much want to go back to them. They're very small, 4 and 2. But, if it's something nice that she wants to do, they've forgotten, it seems to me. And I thought that was such a lot of hypocrisy that it's really shocking. And the other thing I'd like to tell you about how she's supposed to love children so much. In 2021, she went to New York and she wanted to read her book, The Bench.
Oh, Angela, bringing it. I love she's making sure everybody knows this story.
Which is absolutely appalling rubbish, to 7-year-olds in Harlem. And she chose one of the most poorest schools there. But she insisted that the teachers bought a lovely big new blue carpet and blue cushions so she could sit comfortably.
So this seems to be a theme, freaking out over a specific color she wants. If you remember, there was a story that went around, I'm showing you here from Daily Mail, that allegedly she lost it on a PA because these blankets she wanted for this hunting party weren't the right shade of red. And then we hear things like she wanted the shade of blue for this speech the book reading with kids. It's just these crazy details I get fixated on.
And then she had a gagging order that every child of 7 and all the teachers had to sign it to say they wouldn't say anything negative or unpleasant about Meghan or the book. Can you believe that? How can you do that to young children? You're sort of silencing them. I mean, if you talk about free speech, children need it more than actually anybody else, doesn't it? So that they can feel comfortable and talk about it.
So the interview ends there. I love Angela Levin. I think she makes such good points. I find this whole thing so interesting. It's definitely... If you believe Meghan is behind the online accounts, which in my opinion, I do, the hate accounts toward Catherine, it's interesting what they go after Catherine for. And right now it seems to be choosing her children. Imagine, right? Imagine what that would be like. Just a normal thing for most of us. But of course, for Harry and Meghan, that's a foreign concept. Oh, you guys, this has been so much fun. I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. And I appreciate each and every one of you. If you missed our live chat, we had the best time. I'm trying to do those more often. They really are fun. So I know it's hard to get the word out, but definitely make sure you're subscribed and you check that community tab because that's where I post. It's usually same day I'll post, hey, we're going to go live in a little bit. So you can jump on. But we really had a lot of fun. Thank you to everybody who joined in. We appreciate you so much, and I can't wait to do more things like that. If you want to further support the show, of course, we have the merch. Recollections may vary. Make it make sense. And, of course, Drunk Goose Club. Honk, honk, everybody. And then we have Patreon, patreon.com/Real Housewives Recaps. That's where we're doing bonus material, deep dives, things like that. So definitely check that out, patreon.com/Real Housewives Recaps. That's where you can become an executive producer. And further support the show. Thank you to everybody who's clicked that join button. We now have, hold on, I'm stalling because I have the paper. It's over 400 members. I don't have the exact number in front of me. I want to say it's like 408, maybe something like that, members of the Drunk Goose Club. So if you haven't hit that join button, make sure you consider hitting it because that's where you get access to all the cool, special emojis. Your comments get a little star by them and stuff. A lot of cool stuff. It's showing up in the lives and the chats and stuff. I'm really enjoying seeing all that. So check that out. Thank you guys for everything. I can't wait to bring you more videos like this. Have the best day. Bye-bye.